How do you create a succession plan? By the end of this video, you're going to have a strategic plan to get the business that you run out of your head and onto a sheet of paper so it can run and grow with or without you. Are you building a legacy to sell or a product to gift to someone? The very thing that makes you indispensable to your business today is the number one thing that's destroying the value of that business. All right, when we're thinking about succession planning, we really do need to define what is that? I hear about it, I hear people talking about succession. I always like to look at it rooted in the word of success. What succession planning does is it both honors the success that you've had in the past, and it also celebrates the success that you're setting this thing up for, not only for yourself, but for other people. So one of the first things we're going to have to do is we got to identify, why are you even talking about this right now? Little hint, I'm really glad you are. Everybody and every business owner needs to be talking about succession, but I will tell you, you're in the small minority of actually voicing it and starting to do some search around it. So great job, and that's why I wanted to be here to answer that question for you. So before we get started and I dive you into a little methodology that I think is going to be incredibly helpful for you, I just want to ask you a question. Why are you thinking about this? I think it's also good to have a sobering moment, just to go, are you looking to sell outright? Are you looking to transition? Are you looking to close the doors? I hope not. Your business should be valuable and worth something. But what's your purpose? What are you looking to do? And let me even tell you this, when I ask you those questions, you could start to kind of mind spin about it a little bit. Maybe a better question is, what do you want to do? Not what does somebody else want you to do? What do you want to do with this entity, this business, this asset that you've been building? Because a lot of times what we find is those hidden things that are in your heart and your soul around this thing that you've given your heart and your soul to, you got to listen to that. And too many times we're just listening to outside voices, and we have even claimed it this way, that too many of us succumb from what we call LLVD. It sounds kind of disgusting, like a medical condition. It's called latest, loudest voice disease. And so instead of really locking in and going, hey, what do I feel like is in me to be able to do this with? Of course, seek wisdom from the outside. And yet there's so much other distraction that we need to kind of push out. But I want to ask you, what do you want to do with this thing? Here's the beautiful news about the business that you own, is that you can transition it. Yes, even in your industry, you can transition it. We tend to work with a lot of contractors, and they'll go, well, you can't sell a home building business. I'm like, well, are you calling the thousands of people who've done it before liars? Like, of course you can. You can sell an exteriors company, you can sell a remodeling business, you can sell a high-rise construction business, an exterior, any of it. You can sell most anything. The real question is, who will buy it? And so anything can sell as long as there's a buyer, somebody to be able to transition that to. So first thing I want to do is kind of squelch the myth to say your business is not sellable. You need to get over that. Move past that and go, no, how do I sell my business? Well, one of the things that we do is by getting strategic, creating that succession plan and getting everything out of your head down where somebody can see it. But I do know this, you can't pass down what's locked away in your head. And so we got to make a commitment right now. In fact, I'm going to try to crack your head open to see if we can get a lot of that information out right now in what we're talking about. So let me walk you through some steps I think are going to be incredibly helpful for succession planning. Now, if you're going to sell an asset, you have to have an asset to sell. You don't need to write that one down. That one's pretty straightforward. So I want to walk you through on the board an asset that I think you could probably start to sell right away, all right? So let's walk through this. When you think about your business, most of you think about your product. So if you're in a construction business, you think about the homes that you build. If you're in a retail business, you think about the ice cream you sell. If you're in a haberdashery business, look that one up. You think about the sport coats and all that stuff, right? Your product is not your product. In fact, let's write that down. Your product is not your product. You know what your product is? It's another P word. You're going to see a lot of those on here. And that's this idea of your process is your product. The process via which you deliver the product is the product that you have to transition and sell. That's a key distinction we've got to get in our mind. So what I want to do is walk you through a methodology to where we can turn our product into a process. Because the market buys processes, they do not buy products. Now, I'll make one little side statement on that. They do buy products, but they usually buy them as commodities. And it's like the Walmart or the Amazon effect. They're going to go for the lowest price. That's not what we're going for when we're looking at succession planning. So how do we turn our product into a process? Here's what I want you to do. I want you to focus on the 4 P's and then the 4 core systems of every business. You ready? So the first P is what we're going to call the purpose of the business. And under this purpose of the business, there's a few key elements we're going to look at. We're going to look at vision, mission, values, and culture. And so I'm just going to put the first few up here so you can see it. But vision, mission, values, and culture. What is that? It's the future of the business, a detailed snapshot of the future. Hey, this is where we're going, right? The values, I'm going to come back to mission here in a minute. The values are the curbs along the side of the road that we're taking to get to that destination out there. The culture is kind of the field, the momentum that we have, the camaraderie, all of those sorts of things. And by the way, culture is not accident. Culture is something that you build. That your culture is a direct result of the ingredients that you plant. So if you don't like your culture, it's probably because you planted the wrong ingredients. Now, let me go back to mission. This is simply answering the question, why? Too many businesses have a mission like this. We want to be the world's most premier, fundamental, exciting, and we're just like, you've lost me. Not interested. Our mission is very simple. We want to liberate owners from chaos and make time for what matters most. So when people reach out to us and go, hey, can you come speak over here? Our question is, are there business owners there who are open to being liberated from chaos? Well, yeah, the majority are. Okay, we'll be there. Or, no, we really have more employees, no real owners. Okay, then that's probably not a good fit for us. So our mission is aligning us to where we want to go so that we're not distracted by the latest, loudest voice that's coming in. So we got vision, mission, values, culture. Now we go to the second part of the 4 Ps that'll help us to create the succession plan and create a process that we can sell, and that is the idea of people. And a couple of the core elements here are things like org charts. That's the skeletal structure of the business. The job role actually gives an overview of each bone of the skeleton within that organizational structure to do. And then something else that we are really, really emphatic on is this idea of scorecards. So basically, the org chart, the scorecard, is nothing but a breakdown of all the tasks of the job role into daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, etc. And the job roles are nothing but a description of the job roles that are found in the org chart. So it's basically describing each bone of the skeletal structure of the business as we're getting there. Now there's one other part of this, and that is the hiring process, because the people you hire will be the people that will be with your business long term. Duh, right? But don't miss this. How you hire determines both the longevity of the people that are at and the success of the people that you have. So I want you to make a note of this and click on the link below. I have created a powerful video that'll walk you step by step on how to train new hires. So make sure you go check that out in that video I've provided for you. So we've got purpose, people. The third P is the P of process to develop a succession plan. Now that process we want to break down into 4 core categories that'll really help you a lot. Number 1 is marketing. Number 2, sales. Number 3, operations or fulfillment production. And number 4 is admin and accounting, where all the fuel, the money, all that stuff's going to come in. So when we start to break this process vertical down into those 4 core systems is what we're looking at. So we've got the 4 Ps, foundational cornerstones of the business. This is largely your purpose, largely your people element, and your process. Then these 4 things, marketing, sales, ops, admin, that's where the processes are going to come in. Remember, we want to take your product, which is a commodity. I'll prove it. It's in a beautiful house right now. I drove down this road to get to this beautiful house where I'm at right now, and there were tons of other beautiful houses. Guess what? I don't know who built any of them. They're commodities. But you know what's not a commodity? Is the process via which they built them. Talk to the homeowners and they will tell you the experience they had, and it has nothing to do with the quality craftsmanship or any of that. Nobody cares. We all assume that code enforcement's going to keep our house up. What they care is the process via which this house was built. And that's got to be laid out step by step in each one of these things. There should be, over time, hundreds of these processes that it takes. But let's just start with 5 or 10. So if you want a quick way to do this, just set a timer for 5 minutes and start listing out all the processes that currently exist in each one of these 4. That leads us to the 4th P of building a succession plan, and that's this idea of profit. This is where we usually talk about subdividing your cash accounts, creating dashboards, and also looking at things like budgets. And these are forward-looking. Usually when we look at profit, we look past, present, future. Past, balance sheets, P&Ls. Present, cash in my bank accounts. Future, that's where we're looking at budgets, pro formas, compensation calculators, things like that. We don't have to go too deep into that, but this gives you an overview. Here's the short of this. If you want to create a succession plan, start mapping out your 4 Ps of purpose, people, process, and profit. See where these things fit. Ask, do I have my vision written down? Mission written down? Values written down? Notice what I keep saying over and over and over again. Written down. If it's not written, you don't own it. And so we've got to make sure that this stuff is written down, because now we can start to share that with other people. You can probably tell from my page by now, this may go without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. You don't have to be an artist to write this down. You don't have to be Hemingway to write this down. Get it on a sheet of paper to where you can walk through it with other people. So even if I gave you this without talking to it, I could at least walk you through it, and now visually you can see it. So now we're answering a couple of questions. What are we transitioning? We're transitioning this, the process, right? Who are we transitioning to? It's one of the first questions I asked you. Is it a family legacy? Is it the outside market? You need to articulate what that looks like. And then the final question is, how long are you going to transition that? Are we talking 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 7, 10 years from now? Go ahead and write that date down. And that's where I want you to go back to that video where I walk you through how to build your vision story, and it'll give you a future date for what you're looking to. Again, click on the link below and it'll walk you in a deep dive on how to do that. My name's Scott Beebe. We work with business owners just like you, 3 to 100 employees, to build purpose, people, process, and profit so that you can be liberated from chaos, build a sellable asset, and make time for the things that matter most.